0% for 5 years. Ends September 30th. So see your nearest Buick dealer now.
Bill Bradbury. As Secretary of State, he initiated more than 100 state agency audits to find ways to cut waste and save taxpayers millions of dollars. Now he's running for the Senate to make the federal government and big corporations more accountable too, like keeping Congress from spending our Social Security money on tax breaks for the wealthiest few, and fighting for tough new laws that send executives who mislead employees about pensions to jail. Bill Bradbury. He'll restore accountability for us.
As a mother, her beauty was only equaled by her passion for revenge.
We'll never get away with it!
You don't know what I can do.
You're under arrest for murder.
I will not lose you.
Allison Lohman, Robin Wright Penn, Michelle Pfeiffer, Renee Zellweger.
Don't forget who you are, Astrid. You're my daughter.
From the best-selling novel, White Oleander, rated PG-13, starts Friday, October 11th.
K2, the station more and more people are watching.
It looks like to me the Senate is heading down the wrong path. They're more interested in Washington's special interest in Washington, as opposed to your interest, which is protecting the homeland. They're more interested in their turf, and not interested in the security of the American people.
Not interested in the security of the American people.
Today, in Washington, the political ceasefire officially ended.
You tell those who fought in Vietnam and in World War II, they're not interested.
It is wrong.
In the security of the American people.
Wrong. Wrong.
That is outrage.
Wrong.
Outrage.
My job is to protect the American
Don't lecture us.
But the accusation,
The Senate does not pass it.
We ought not politicize the rhetoric.
Very hurtful.
who is the enemy here?
It is
The
hurtful.
President of the United States or Saddam Hussein?
Tonight, words of war. The gloves come off in the debate over national security.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Chris Bury.
Here in the Capitol, there is an invisible line between Republicans and Democrats. They nearly always tolerate, if not respect, each other's arguments without questioning the patriotism of the other. Today, the Democratic leader of the Senate angrily accused the president of stepping over that line, and the White House just as passionately insisted that the charge was baseless. Senator Tom Daschle, who invariably is described as mild-mannered, spoke with a fury he has rarely shown before. He demanded that President Bush apologize for suggesting that Democrats in the Senate were more interested in special interests than the security of Americans. The White House fired back that Mr. Daschle had taken a partial quote about the Homeland Security debate in Congress and twisted it for his own political purposes. That war or national security are somehow exempt from partisan politics, or should be, is a notion that doesn't have much basis in history. George McGovern, you may remember, ran an entire presidential campaign, a losing one, opposing the war in Vietnam. Bob Dole generated a huge firestorm when he suggested in the 1976 vice presidential debate that all the major conflicts of the 20th century were, quote, democratic wars. That may have cost his running mate, Gerald Ford, the election. So the intersection of war and politics can be a very treacherous corner. Here with more on today's collision there is Nightline correspondent John Donvan.
The Gallup organization asked Americans a question about the president and what he's been saying about Iraq.
Saddam Hussein is a serious threat.
The question, in essence, was this:
The leader of Iraq is an evil man.
is the president seeking the support of Congress for military action because he wants to protect America?
We will look at all options.
Or is it all just an effort to help Republicans get votes? In that poll, most Americans gave President Bush the benefit of the doubt, while 26% said, in effect, yeah, they think he's just playing politics with all this Iraq talk. More than twice as many, 68%, said they think he's got the national security in mind. Well, that may be how it looks to the country at large. It's not necessarily how it seems here in Washington, where each party feigns horror that anyone would exploit the debate over national security for political gain, and where each side is accusing the other of doing exactly that. This was Democratic Senator Tom Daschle on the Senate floor today.
The president is quoted in the Washington Post this morning as saying that the Democratic-controlled Senate is not interested in the security of the American people. Not interested in the security of the American people? You tell Senator Inouye he's not interested in the security of the American people. You tell those who fought in Vietnam and in World War II they're not interested in the security of the American people. That is outrageous. He ought to apologize to the American people. That is wrong. We ought not politicize this war. We ought not politicize the rhetoric about war and life and death.
Later rose Trent Lott, the Republican who will lead the Senate if the Republicans can pick up a few seats in November.
We live in grave times when this body should be carefully and deliberately debating the threat that Iraq's weapons of mass destruction pose against the United States. Instead, we heard accusations that a president of the United States is using the possibility of war for political purposes. Madam President, who is the enemy here? The President of the United States or Saddam Hussein?
Note the technique that both sides are using here. To gain political points, accuse the other guy of trying to gain political points. Who started it? The Democrats say the president did, when it became clear last summer that the economy, which he at one point was talking about a lot.
I believe there is a better day right around the corner for all Americans.
That the economy was not exactly going to be a vote-getter. By August, the president was developing a new theme.
They're more interested in protecting their own political turf and their own jurisdictions than they are the American people.
That, say the Democrats, was where it started, where they were accused of putting security second and politics first. A false accusation, they say, which can only mean one thing, that President Bush was the one playing politics with national security. No, says the White House, the president was merely raising a serious, substantive concern. ABC's Terry Moran covers the White House for ABC News.
First, they said the president was taken out of context, that he wasn't talking about attacking Iraq or war, but about the debate over establishing the Department of Homeland Security and the fierce dispute over labor rights. And second, they said that he meant what he said in that context, that if the Senate fails to follow his lead in establishing that department, it will not have sufficiently protected the American people.
Still, the president kept at this theme, bringing it up, incidentally, in a string of appearances he made explicitly to raise funds for Republican candidates for Congress. In New Mexico,
there are senators who are more worried about the special interest in Washington than they are about protecting the people.
In Iowa,
they're more interested in special interest in Washington as opposed to your interest, which is protecting the homeland.
And in Tennessee.
In the United States Senate, they're more interested in Washington's special interest than they are in the interest of protecting the American people.
The other theme the president began to hit is the building need to do something about Iraq.
Saddam Hussein's regime is a grave and gathering danger.
Linda Douglas covers Congress for ABC News.
Many Democrats have got questions about the war with Iraq, but they've been afraid to question the president publicly because their opponents in tight races have been accusing them of being soft on Iraq. Today, Daschle's anger at the president opened the door for those Democrats who have questions, and many of them have started coming out now and publicly questioning whether it's wise to rush into war with Iraq without first involving the UN.
Then, in the past few days, several things happened. First, Al Gore became the first prominent Democrat to challenge aggressively the president's stance on Iraq and to hint that it was motivated by election concerns.
The timing of this sudden burst of urgency was explained by innocently, I believe, by the White House Chief of Staff in his now well-known statement, and I quote, "From an advertising point of view, you don't launch a new product line until after Labor Day," end quote.
The Republican response to Gore was, what else, that he sounded like, quote, a political hack. Earlier on the day that Gore spoke, the president slightly sharpened his rhetoric.
But the Senate is more interested in special interests in Washington and not interested in the security of the American people.
It was that statement that triggered Senator Daschle's comments today, after which Democrats and Republicans almost compulsively kept the volleyball moving. The president's spokesman saying that Daschle got it wrong.
The president never, in that speech, referred to the Democratic-controlled Senate.
And Daschle going to the Senate floor yet again to refute the White House's reputations.
They're not worth the paper they're printed on.
Remember, this was then.
You tell
And
those
this
who fought in Vietnam and
is
in World
now.
War II, they're not interested.
The only thing everyone agrees on in this context is that politics is a dirty word, although no one has really explained why that should be and why matters of extreme urgency like war should not be exposed to the system that we call politics, by which we elect our leaders. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Washington.
Isn't politics always part of the debate over war?
And so the president, I think, is personally saying things he believes very strongly.
It's the kind of thing that we have seen in the lowest moments of our history.
That conversation when we come back.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by MasterCard.
Sweater for Ann M, $80 online. Dog dish for Toto, $20 online. Fabulous shoes, $150 online. Knowing you're safe when you shop online. Priceless. With MasterCard Zero Liability, you're protected from unauthorized purchases. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
I used to worry about money. Then I got Brown. Brown helps me figure it all out. Brown manages my inventory, fills my orders, then ships them to retailers anywhere. And here's the cool part. It saves me money, so I have the cash to keep my business growing and my people stoked. They're stoked.
Order fulfillment, distribution, one company. UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Wilding and the Central Park Jogger. It redefined crime. But was everyone wrong about what happened? Thursday, new evidence and a dramatic confession on Primetime.
Introducing the versatile all-wheel drive Subaru Baja. Parked car, parked truck, all choice. When you get it, you get it.
Open, open, open.
Honey, you okay?
The dream again.
Which one? Loses key or key breaks off?
Key breaks off. Yeah, I know.
Mervyn Super Sale now through Saturday. Doors open at 9. We promise. Mervyn. Big brand, small prices.
My guest tonight are Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House of Representatives and now a Fox News consultant, and Charles Schumer, Democratic Senator from New York State. Both men join us here in our Washington studios. And, Mr. Speaker, that really was quite a remarkable scene on the Senate floor today. You had the leader of the Senate accuse the President of the United States of impugning the patriotism of Democratic senators. Did the President cross a line here?
Well, first of all, I think Senator Daschle's emotionalism is a little remarkable. There is a bill to create a Department of Homeland Security. That bill is in the middle of a real struggle. Key Democrats are determined to protect the right of union members and federal employees not to be fired, not to be reorganized by the president if it comes into conflict with existing law. The president is arguing that national security is so important that if somebody's incompetent or not doing their job, he should have the right to fire them if it's a matter of national security. Now, this is a straightforward argument, but I think that burned Senator Daschle, and he frankly created a false issue rather than debate the straightforward issue of the Homeland Security bill.
So, Senator Schumer, is this simply, as Speaker Gingrich and the White House have now both suggested, is this simply Senator Daschle overreacting to a piece of relatively ordinary business in the Congress?
Obviously not. The president stepped over a line. We've been debating this bill for the last 2-3 weeks, and no one has gotten upset. When the president impugns the patriotism of a whole party, when the president says that Democrats are not interested in national security 2 or 3 times when we're on the edge of war, that is a cheap shot, a low blow, and is not debating the issue that Newt talked about, even with some invective here, but we always do that, about whether employees should have certain protections and be able to be fired at will or be able to have some recourse and some appeal if they feel they're being fired unfairly.
Senator,
that's quite different. And what the president did, I thought, was an ugly tactic, not furthering an intellectual debate, even a political debate, but rather impugning the patriotism of a whole party because they disagreed with him.
The president has been saying this in different forms since August. By our count, he has basically said the same thing 9 different times. Why this outrage on the part of Senator Daschle all of a sudden today?
Well, I think what the president has done is change the rhetoric. From arguing, as Newt did here, that there's a balance test and you ought to have a different balance than some people think, is different than saying you are not interested in the security of the American people. That's a pretty serious charge when you're on the edge of war. It's almost a charge that says you don't care about protecting people. It's the kind of thing that we have seen in the lowest moments of our history, used by people. Well, it's not becoming of the president to do that. He is not making a balancing test argument here. He is rather impugning the actual motivation and patriotism of people who disagree with him. That is the refuge of low argument.
Mr. Speaker, let me ask you a question related to what Senator Schumer is bringing up, which is, would such rhetoric not have been more appropriate from, let's say, a congressman running for re-election this November than it is from the President of the United States?
Let me just make, I think there are 2 parallel points here. I think this is a little disingenuous on my good friend Chuck Schumer's part. I mean, first of all...
Let's not be ad hominem, Newt.
I'm not going to... No,
let's not use Latin, gentlemen, because you're going to lose the audience.
Oh, I think this particular audience is pretty good with those kind of words. Look, I believe, first of all, that George W. Bush as a person believes deeply and passionately in what he's trying to accomplish to protect this country. I think he has a mission. He believes he has a mission to try to achieve that. And I think over the last 6 weeks, he has grown more and more frustrated with the difficulty in the Senate of getting the Homeland Security bill out, which should have gotten out, frankly, before the August recess, is mired down in part by a mini filibuster on the part of Senator Byrd of West Virginia, and has moved very slowly and with, frankly, no real give in terms of his ability to reorganize departments, some of which are clearly broken. They can't do the job. And so the president, I think, is personally saying things he believes very strongly. But notice the emotion this morning from Senator Daschle, and notice the harsh words from Vice President Gore, and ask yourself, is it really likely that the Democratic nominee for president 2 years ago and the Democratic majority of the Senate just happened to both decide to use very strong political language in the same 48 hours? Is it likely that's purely a coincidence, or in fact, are they trying to take people's attention away from the substantive issues? And I would suggest to you, if you look at some of Gore's language in that speech in San Francisco, it is stunningly accusing the President of the United States of doing things about war for purely political reasons. Cleverly stated, but nonetheless, here's a former vice president, and let me draw one other contrast.
Mr. Gingrich, we have to take a break right now, but we'll continue this conversation on the politics of war when we return.
Buy any new Mitsubishi and never pay interest. Plus, you won't make a payment for a year. like the best deal in the car business, just keeps getting better. Visit your local Mitsubishi retailer and check out Mitsubishi's Never Won't Last Forever event, where you can buy any new Mitsubishi and never pay interest. Not today, not next year, never. Plus, you'll have no car payments for a year. Good on any new Mitsubishi. Never pay interest. Plus, no payments for a year. Hurry. This deal ends September 30th.
Announcing the Sears Card event, where you'll get an extra 25% off clothing, shoes, and more. And an extra 10% off all tools, electronics, home appliances, and fine jewelry. Where can you get great savings, even off sale prices, just for using your Sears card? Sears. Where else?
It's a beautiful morning.
Ask your doctor about Vioxx, a prescription medicine from Merck. And find out if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx.
Hey, what is ING? They're a financial services company. They didn't hear you. What'd you say? They're a financial services company. One more time. They're a financial services.
Financial services from ING.
Tomorrow, a new way to make your drive safer. What's being done to keep you and your family from getting into an accident? The changes that could save thousands of lives on World News Tonight.
Savings on all the remaining 2002 Civics are truly remarkable. Get yours before they all vanish. Now you can get low 1.9% APR financing on the 2002 Honda Civic.
Announcing the Sears Card event, where you'll get an extra 25% off clothing, shoes, and more. And an extra 10% off all tools, electronics, home appliances, and fine jewelry. Where can you get great savings, even off sale prices, just for using your Sears card? Sears. Where else?
No school today?
No, I dropped out.
You dropped out.
With Newt Gingrich and Senator Charles Schumer. Gentlemen, there is an election coming up in just under 6 weeks, and Senator Schumer, why should any of us be surprised that both parties are trying to get some kind of political advantage, even in a climate of war?
Well, look, I mean, you know, it depends how you define politics. Obviously, if there are different views on war, and it's unclear that there are, they should be debated. And if people want to call that politics, so be it. I haven't made up my mind what to do, but I know I have a whole lot of questions that have been unanswered. And the only thing I would object to, and some of my colleagues think this is already being objected to, is, Senator Byrd said it on the floor today, is that I don't have the ability, the right to ask these questions. I think, as I go around my state at least, people, you know, there are about 10 or 15% who are vehemently opposed to the war. There are 10 or 15% who are vehemently for it. But most Americans have a whole lot of questions that they'd like answered, and a full and robust debate is what we need. The objections that we were talking about on the earlier segment of the show are not about debate and not about disagreement. They're about impugning integrity, patriotism, and motivation.
Speaker Gingrich, there was a famous memo which leaked out in June from a White House political operative which urged Republican candidates to focus on war because it was a strength of the Republican Party. Putting on your tactician's hat, shouldn't the president be doing exactly that in strategic terms?
Well, I think the president should be doing what he thinks is best as commander-in-chief. He was asked by many members of the House and Senate, Democrat and Republican, to go to the United Nations and make a speech and ask for the UN to act. He did exactly what he was asked to do. He was told throughout August he had to come to the Congress to ask for support. That's what he's now doing. But I want to draw a distinction. In the middle of the impeachment process, I worked with President Clinton. I publicly supported him on striking at Saddam Hussein because I thought that national security outweighed any partisan issue, and that was an election year, and it was an election year with a lot at stake. But I felt, as an Army brat, I'd grown up in a household where working with the commander-in-chief really mattered. And I thought that's why Vice President Gore's speech in particular was well outside the mark of an appropriate debate. But on the substance, on the basic questions, members ought to take a yes or no position based on their conscience, not on their polling.
And Senator I would just say one other thing.
Senator Schumer, let me just
please
ask you to respond to a point that Mr. Gingrich has made, which is that the speech from former Vice President Gore and the speech today from Senator Daschle were somehow coordinated because Democrats were having some trouble getting traction on the substance of the debate and therefore needed to get on the map politically. That's a charge that Mr. Gingrich has just made.
Yeah, it's absurd. And I was there this morning. We have a little meeting every morning of about 8 or 9 senators led by Senator Daschle just discussing the day. He brought in the article from the Washington Post and was visibly angry. This was in a private meeting. And he was just furious. He was seething again because this wasn't a debate on tactics. This wasn't a debate on whether we should go in. This was impugning the integrity of a whole political party, a cheap shot, an ugly tactic if there ever was one. Tom Daschle is a very sincere guy, whether you agree with him or not. He's a mild-mannered guy. But I thought he thought, and I agree with him, that this was a shot below the belt that had to be answered quickly because that kind of poison should not infect our political system. If I have a question about the war, I should be able to ask it without my patriotism being questioned. And that's all Tom Daschle was saying today.
Gentlemen, we just have a few moments left. Let me see if I can try to do the impossible here and get you to agree on one thing. Would you both acknowledge, and beginning very quickly with you, Mr. Gingrich, would you both acknowledge that, in fact, Democrats and Republicans are, in effect, politicizing this war?
No, I think that everybody in the end exists in the world of politics, but that this is about life and death. It's about protecting the country. And I believe virtually every Democrat and virtually every Republican is, in the end, going to vote their conscience and do what's right for the country, not what's right for politics. I just don't believe people on a matter this important do things purely for politics.
Well, no one said purely for politics, but Senator Schumer, would you deny that politics are involved here?
Well, if you mean politics, picking a side on the issue and trying to make your argument to the American people, it is involved, it should be involved. What shouldn't be involved is character assassination, is the kind of, as I say, aspersions on somebody's patriotism, someone's motivation. That is below politics in the finest sense of the word.
Gentlemen, I assume we haven't heard the last word on this episode. Senator Schumer, former Speaker Newt Gingrich, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And I'll be back with a word about tonight's Up Close broadcast.
To receive a daily email about each evening's Nightline and a preview of special broadcasts, log on to the Nightline page at abcnews.com.
Announcing the Sears Card event, where you'll get an extra 25% off clothing, shoes, and more. And an extra 10% off all tools, electronics, home appliances, and fine jewelry. Where can you get great savings, even off sale prices, just for using your Sears card? Sears. Where else?
It's PCS Vision from Sprint. Now your employees can connect with the office network when they're away, right from a PCS phone. Exchange email, contacts, and calendars just like on a computer, instantly. You mean I couldn't have said it better myself.
Introducing PCS Vision from Sprint. See the power behind the PCS Clear Wireless Workplace.
Checkup, booster shot, and lollipop, $110. Your brother's turn, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For back-to-school stuff, there's MasterCard.
Planned Parenthood is a retail establishment of death. A retail establishment of death. That's what Kevin Mannix said. Abortion should be illegal. Kevin Mannix said that, too. Kevin Mannix is against a woman's right to choose, and on the issue of choice, called his own views extreme. When even Kevin Mannix says he's an extremist, shouldn't we take his word for it? Kevin Mannix, too extreme for Oregon.
Know how many benefits there are to quitting smoking?
Just use your imagination.
Toyota's nationwide clearance has a little bit of everything.
A little bit of
Camry!
in my life, a little bit of
Corolla!
by my side.
Toyota's clearance means a lot of value on cars. Right now, get APR financing as low as 0% on the stylish and sleek Camry and sporty Solara. You'll want to take advantage of this amazing 0% financing. And the Detroit News named Camry Car of the Year for 2002. So don't miss out on this great offer. Get to Toyota's nationwide clearance, going on now.
Tonight on Up Close, imagine getting a call out of the blue awarding you $500,000. You'll meet 7 of the latest winners of the Genius Grants on Up Close. And that's our report for tonight. I'm Chris Bury in Washington. I hope to see you shortly on Up Close.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now traveling to all 50 states in 50 weeks in search of America.
The defense didn't work.
We find the defendant guilty.
The offense wasn't good enough.
How could I not win?
Now that he's tried every play in the book.
What happened?
With his wife convicted of murder, how can this lawyer win the biggest fight of his life?
I'm never going to get out, am I, Bobby?
The season premiere of The Practice after the premiere of Alias, ABC Sunday.
Look what a little bit of Toyota clearance can get you.
A little bit of Forerunner in my life, a little bit of
RAV4
by my side.
Toyota's clearance means a lot of value on SUVs. Right now, get APR financing as low as 0% on the versatile and adventurous Forerunner. You want to take advantage of this amazing 0% financing, or get $1,500 cash back on Forerunner, the SUV that's as comfortable on the back roads as a day in the city. Get to Toyota's nationwide clearance, going on now.
Chew Trident White. Smile brighter.
You know, I'm a people person, and I tell people, you know, nursing is my ministry. It's the way I touch people's lives.
There's a lot of satisfaction in going from newborn to 90 years old in a heartbeat and saving someone's life.
Nurses are caregivers. That's what they do. They give quality care to people who need help.
It's not just a job. It's a way of life with nursing.
Nursing, a career for life, brought to you by the St. John Medical Center and the Washington State Nurses Association.
K2, the station more and more people are watching.
Up close tonight, the geniuses. Not exactly, but that's how they've come to be known. Imagine your reaction when you get a telephone call out of the blue awarding you $500,000, no strings attached. That's how the MacArthur Foundation names its fellows each year from the arts, sciences, and academia. Each receives $100,000 for 5 straight years to help them further their creative pursuits or help make ends meet. That is up to them. Today, 24 new MacArthur Fellows received the so-called Genius Awards, 14 men and 10 women, ranging in age from 29...
Moving Homes, James Hardy.
Discover the difference personal service makes at Harlem.
Now at Binion's, get 2 complete pairs of glasses for only $99. Choose from hundreds of great-looking frames and get 2 complete pairs for just $99. And your second pair can be for you, a family member, or a friend. Why pay more? Save at Binion's.
How many reasons do you need to get into a Chrysler car or minivan? How about zero? Because now, for a limited time, you can get 0% financing for 60 months on most 2002 Chrysler vehicles, which could save you up to $6,700 depending on model. Plus, to make this great offer even better, it's backed by the peace of mind of our 770 Powertrain Limited Warranty. So get to your Chrysler dealer today, because with 0% financing and our 770 Limited Warranty, there's no reason not to.